Mama Gone, a literary tale by Jane Yolen, intended for a young adult audience. Mama died 4 nights ago, giving birth to my baby sister Anne. Baba cried and cried, "Mama gone," in his little boy voice, but I never let out a single tear. There was blood, red as any sunset, all over the bed from that birthing. And when Papa saw it, he rubbed his head against the cabin wall over and over and over, and made little animal sounds. Suki washed Mama down and placed the baby on her breast for a moment. "Remember," she whispered. "Mama gone," Bubba wailed again, but I never cried. By all rights, we should have buried her with garlic in her mouth and her hands and feet cut off, what with her being vampire kin and all. But Papa absolutely refused. "Your Mama couldn't stand garlic," he said, when the sounds had stopped rushing out of his mouth and his eyes had cleared. "Made her come out all over with rashes. She had the sweetest mouth and hands." And that was that. Not a one of us could make him change his mind, not even Granddad Stokes or Pop Wilbur or any other of the men who come to pay their last respects. And as Pa is a preacher and a brimstone man, they let it be. The only thing he would allow was for us to tie red ribbons round her ankles and wrists, a kind of sign like a line of blood. Everybody hoped that would do. But on the next day, she rose from out her grave and commenced to prey upon the good folk of Tonton. Of course she came to our house first, that being the dearest place she knew. I saw her outside my window, gray as a gravestone, her dark eyes like holes in a shroud. When she looked in, she didn't know me, though I had always been her favorite. "Mama, be gone," I said, and waved my little cross at her, the one she had given me the very day I'd been born. "Avaunt." The old Bible words sat heavy in my mouth. She put her hand up on the window frame, and as I watched, the gray fingers turned splotchy pink from all the garlic I had rubbed into the wood. Black tears dropped from her black eyes then, but I never cried. She tried each window in turn, and not a person awake in the house but me. But I had done my work well, and the garlic held her out. She even tried the door, but it was no use. By the time she left, I was so sleepy, I dropped down right by the door. Papa found me there at cockcrow. He never did ask what I was doing, and if he guessed, he never said. Little Joshua Greenough was found dead in his crib. The doctor took 2 days to come over the mountains to pronounce it. By then, the garlic around his little bed to keep him from walking too had mixed with the death smells. Everybody knew, even the doctor, and him a city man. It hurt his Mama and Papa sore to do the cutting, but it had to be done. The men came to our house that very noon to talk about what had to be. Papa kept shaking his head all through their talking, but it was no use. Even his being preacher wouldn't stop them. Once a vampire walks these mountain hollers, there's nary a house or a barn that's safe. Nighttime is lost time, and nobody can afford to lose much stock. So they made their sharp sticks out of greenwood, the curling shavings littering our cabin floor. Bubba played in them, not understanding. Suki was busy with the baby, nursing her with a bottle and a sugar teat. It was my job to sweep up the wood curls. They felt slick on one side, bumpy on the other, like my heart. Papa said, "I was the one who let her turn into a night walker. It's my business to stake her out." No one argued, especially not the Greenoffs, their eyes still red from weeping. "Just take my children," Papa said, "and if anything goes wrong, cut off my hands and feet and bury me down at Mill's cross under the stone. There's garlic hanging in the pantry. Mandy Jane will string me some. So Suki took the baby and Bubba off to the Greenoff's place, that seeming the right thing to do, and I stayed the rest of the afternoon with Papa, stringing garlic and pressing more into the windows. But the strand over the door he took down. "I've got to let her in somewhere," he said, "and this is where I'll make my stand." He touched me on the cheek, the first time ever. Papa never has been much for show. "Now you run along to the Greenoffs, Mandy Jane," he said, "and remember, your Mama loved you. This isn't her child. Mama's gone, and that something else has come to take her place. I should have remembered that the good book says, 'The living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything.'" I didn't give him a daughter's kiss, for his mind was well set on the night's doing. I wanted to ask him how the vampire knew to come first to our house then, but I was silent, for he had been asleep and hadn't seen her. But I didn't go down the lane to the Greenoffs at all. Wearing my triple strand of garlic, and with my little cross around my neck, I went to the burying ground, to Mama's grave. It looked so raw against the greening hillside. The dirt was red clay, but all it looked like to me was blood. There was no cross on it yet, no stone. That would come in a year. Just a humping, a heaping of red dirt over her coffin, the plain pine wood box hastily made. I lay face down in that dirt, my arms opened wide. "Oh, Mama," I whispered, "the good book says that you are not dead, but sleepeth. Sleep quietly, Mama. Sleep well." It had been a long and wearying day, and I fell asleep right there in the burying ground. Any other time, fear might have overcome sleep. But I just closed my eyes and slept.